What's up everyone, welcome back to Steve's Project Car Garage. My name is Steve. So it's been a few weeks, almost a month, since my last video update. So I wanted to go ahead and first say I'm sorry about that, but it has been really hot here and time has not been my best friend. But we're going to make up for that in this video. So grab yourself a cup of ginger juice, preferably an iced one, and let's get cracking. It's been so long since the last video, I honestly don't even know what it was about. So I'm going to just show you where we're at now. We have a couple of things we want to do before we go ahead and try to put the tub onto the frame. In fact, that was actually the whole thing, was taking the tub off of the rotisserie, if I'm not mistaken. So let's start here with the bulkhead. So bulkhead and the firewall are what needs to be handled next. In order for me to get this put onto the frame, I want to have this whole bulkhead and firewall painted. And I mean not just primered, I mean painted. So we're going to go get that Kirker Viper red on there and everything. In order to do that though, we need to get it all sanded down. Currently I have it sanded down to about 320 grit. I want to take it down to 600. So I'm probably going to do a 400 and then 600 to get it really, really nice and smooth. At that point then, it's just a matter of prep to go ahead and get it ready for paint. We're going to do a urethane primer sealer. We're going to have it reduced, use that as a sealer. It's going to be gray. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and hit it with the Viper red twice and see where it's at that point. So that's the plan for this. Let me show you what's going on in the back. So if you remember back here, I wasn't really able to hit any of this when it was on the rotisserie. So I have since gone ahead and stripped the paint off the back. And I've done some hammer and dolly work just to kind of smooth this out. There's still a little bit more work that needs to be done, but in general it isn't that bad. So the idea here is to go ahead and do the epoxy primer. And then once we get the epoxy primer on there, then we'll go ahead and hit it with the buff, and then it's going to be just kind of chill until it's time to actually go ahead and paint. One of the things I do need to address though actually is a little bit of metal work. We're going to do that today. You see all these little screw holes? So a lot of these screw holes here for the lights, they need to be filled because these are where the previous owner did like self-tapping screws to go ahead and put the lights in, and I want to fill those all up. Another thing that we want to do is take a look and see what holes back here are needed and what are not. Some are for the license plate, which makes sense. Some were for the rear light, but the rear light is actually going to be replaced with the PILF that belongs on here for a 1970 Spitfire or Jaguar E-Type. So I need to kind of figure that out. But I remember these two screw holes were for the light assembly that was on there before, and this was the wire for it. And then I don't know what they were doing here with those holes. I honestly don't remember. And also, if I look at this, pretty sure that those license plate holes are not even. So I need to check that out, and that's primarily what I'm going to be focusing on right now. So let's go ahead and get cracking and see what we can do. All right, so working on the back of the car. Obviously, I want everything to be as centered as possible. So what I've done is I've laid out this piece of masking tape, and I'm going to use this to mark the center point, and then also use that to then decide where drill holes need to be and where drill holes don't need to be, because I want to fill in the ones that I don't need and make ones that I will need. Hope that makes sense. So I'm going to go from the inside edge over here to the inside edge over here. That is just short of 47 inches. It's like 47 and 7/8. All right. So we got to figure out what's half of 47 and 7/8. All right. So we're essentially, if we just call it 47 or 48 rather, right? We're essentially looking at no, I'm sorry, it's 47. So it's actually 46 and 46. Yeah. We're gonna call it 47. It's like an eighth of an inch off. So it's like 46 and 7/8.
12 seconds later.
So we are essentially looking at 23.5 inches as being the center point. So I'm gonna go ahead and try and mark that. All right, so we're just gonna use that as a baseline. Out of that, actually, I think that it's not the center line that's off. I think it's the license plate holes that are off. Let's just see. Let's go from the top, actually. So we got roughly 6 inches from here to there. And then, oh yeah. That's like 5 inches. So this whole thing is way off, way off. So, that's fun. Okay. Maybe that's why there's multiple holes. I don't remember. When I did this before, I didn't really pay attention to it being center or not. I was just more excited to throw a plate on. I found that the center of the plate is roughly right in between the two E's of 3, which pretty much lines up with what I had here. So if I measure from one side to the other, I'm pretty much at 5 inches on the bottom. Do this. Oh, that's way off center still then. Because, I mean, I guess I'm like 5 1/4 to right about here. And that's like 5 5/8. So I need to shift over. Shift over ever so slightly. I just want everything to be center. That's... Alright, so that's 5 1/4. That's 5 1/2. So I went too much now. I need to go 5 1/8, 5 1/2. That should be close. All right, so that seems to be pretty good. So what I want to do now is mark out the 2 spots here where I can go ahead and drill. Now, is that the right height? It seems like it might be a little on the high side. So I drew 2 X's, approximately where I want the license plate to go. This is the Pilth, by the way. It's this thing is like, I want to say solid aluminum, but I'm not sure. It's heavy. It's quite heavy. And so this also has to be centered, and I have to figure out where that center mark is. It's going to be something like that, roughly. And then it goes pretty much just a hair below the corners, or the edge here. All right, so I found that 6 5/8 is the center line on this. So that's my center line on everything else. What I really need is actually a piece of string that I can use to pull down and mark the center. Give me just a second. Yeah, I mean, that's more or less right where I haul away. Cool.
One minute, 37 seconds later.
Oh, God. This is fun. So I've been duped by the dreaded previous owner yet again. I was measuring these holes. I was like, these holes don't look even. Well, first of all, this hole's like much larger than the rest of them. But also the lights aren't on center. Now, it's off by like 1/8 of an inch, and I don't think anyone's going to really notice that. But I'm going to notice it now, and you all know. But these holes here, I'm not going to fill these in to just move them. I think that I can make do probably with just moving the fixture a little bit when I mount it, which means that moving and, you know, filling these holes here where the screws went is even that much more important. But I'm blown away still. Unreal. All right, so what I want to try to do now is go ahead and figure out where my center mark is here, and then try to figure out approximately where the bolts are going to go that come out of the pilf, which means that I got to try to hold this somehow. Center and straight. All right. So I'm feeling pretty good about those drill holes. So what I need to do now is go ahead and I'll mark those up, and then I'm just gonna give them a punch and try to drill them out. And then we'll place it on there, see where it sits, see how it looks. And then if everything's good, we'll mark those holes to keep and mark the rest to fill. So let me go do that and check back in with you. All right, so there we go. Got it mounted. I didn't actually put bolts or anything in there, but it was a little bit difficult because I had to actually drill the bottom holes a bit larger. I had them off by just a hair. So just by widening them up though, it gave me plenty of play to be able to get this in there. And if you look, it's pretty much dead on with the center line. We come back, in the middle of the license plate. Looks pretty good. Let's take a look at it from coming back more. Yeah, see, that looks good. That looks pretty good. And I assume that as I go ahead and tighten it up and pull this in, that the metal will pull all together and it'll suck in, because I noticed it down here, there's definitely quite the gap. But there will be some gasket that goes in there, but I don't think it'll be too big of a deal. I think it'll work out quite well. So I'm happy with that. So I guess now what I have to do is start getting myself prepped to throw some weld into these small holes, flatten them down, and yeah, it's coming together. I think it looks pretty good. Let me know what you think in the comments. All right, we're back at it. It's been a few days. And you're probably wondering, why the heck is there a boot lid on here? Well, funny story. So when I took this car apart, the boot lid locked and secured. Well, it didn't lock, I didn't have a key for it, but it's secured. And it was a little bit funny though, because as I was trying to figure out what some of these holes go to down here, I realized what it is. So let me take the boot lid off and I'll show you. All right, so I'm gonna try to insert a picture here so you can see what this was like before, but it was sticking up like 1/2 inch or more. And so now I've gotten down to the bottom of why. And I remember when I was taking this apart, this panel was what was sticking up. And when they replaced this rear panel years ago, they didn't put this in back or correctly. So I've gone ahead and I've cleaned it up with a wire wheel. Got it looking pretty decent. There's a little bit of metal missing down there, but I ain't too worried about it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clamp that on here and then zap it up using the holes. And then, yeah, this will be in here. I'm going to get some paint on the back side first, and then I'll paint all this once I get around to finishing the back here. So that's kind of the story on that. The boot lid that I have, it's an older one. Probably won't be using it to spare, but it works. It fit. I placed it on and I was able to go ahead and lock down the boot. So, I mean, tells me everything's lined up pretty good. All right, you all know that sound. Got the welder going, so I went ahead and I put these the bracket on, and then I used the screws to go ahead and just kind of hold it nice and tight. So we're just going to give this a couple of zaps to get it all together. All right, there we go. Not bad. I actually also threw a couple of extras just down here in the back. But I mean, that's hot, but it's also secure. So with that being said, the rest of it gonna be hole filling. All these little holes, I'm gonna go ahead and fill. These are the ones that I made for the plinth. This is gonna be for the wire for it. This gets filled, that gets filled. This is for the license plates. And again, there's little guys over here. Once that's done, then I can go ahead and get this covered in epoxy, body filler, and then we let it rotator chip. So let me check in with you in a little bit. All right, got the initial welds done here. Looks pretty good. I had a booger weld here that I'm gonna redo, but I'm gonna sand these guys on down flat. And, oh, I just realized I missed one. But, yeah. Pretty happy with the result. I'm sure I'll have a little bit of filling to do once I go ahead and get the sanding done, but let me go ahead and do that and see where we're at after. All right, well, that's gonna do it for this one. I was hoping to get more accomplished during this video, but time has just been difficult and the heat has been obnoxious. So hopefully I'll be able to get this painted here shortly, and then we'll actually be able to move on to what I've been talking about for the last couple of weeks, which is painting the bulkhead and then getting this guy on the tub, or on the frame. So anyways, thanks for watching, and make sure you hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And just remember that when working on project cars like this, stay hydrated if you're out working in the heat, and don't be that dreaded previous owner. Cheers.